changed it.
No?
I'm looking for Bava Metzia. The first one I looked at is a Bava Metzia.
You know what that means?
I'm gonna learn
Sit at
it.
the table.
You need to be one row back. Can't be first row.
See, this you were doing at 6 o'clock?
Oh, did I read this? I think I read half of it.
Yeah, I was still waiting for you to finish.
Or I finished it?
So you've only changed half your life.
Probably.
How to change the other half?
I'm still working on
It says we're
manifesting.
live, but I don't know where.
I think I finished it. I gotta check.
Go back to...
How does it end?
There's one God.
I knew that already.
Then this book's for you.
Hold on. No, I gotta try on the... wait.
Does it say it's
What?
recording yet? No.
Oh, here. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we're here.
It's just confusing me.
We're live.
You guys want to start?
Yeah. Send us to me. Send it to me.
How you guys are? Time on.
Oh,
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so still we're going to do Sicha Nun Aleph.
Oh, the picture.
Did you bring the books?
Send me the picture.
You didn't bring the books?
Oh, I didn't need it.
Where are they?
We'll go wait another minute. We're not going anywhere. Okay, so this is interesting Sicha. It's a long Sicha and it's many different pieces, small little short pieces. Some parts connect. I'm sure they all really connect. But I also want to perhaps get some class participation. It's always good. I always like to hear from the other side.
Huh.
You know, when they hear what Rabbi Nachman is saying, sometimes he's saying very simple things. Sometimes that simplicity is very, very deep. I'm also curious to hear what the other perspective is. So let's start and let's see what happens. So Sicha Nun Aleph. Says Rabbi Nachman. He said that they bring this down. That he said this by one night the nights of Shavuos. Leil Echad Shel Shavuos Motzei Shabbos. Ha'olam hazeh eino klum. Says Rabbi Nachman, this world is nothing. The world is nothing. Now forget, we're by Shavuos now. We just accepted the Torah. This whole world is nothing. Rak limshoch el tachlis anitzri. The tachlis is to be drawn after the tachlis. The world is nothing. I think he means the Gashmi's world. Rak limshoch el tachlis anitzri. Rather, one should just be drawn after the ultimate, everlasting tachlis purpose. Person should never be really looking whether he has money, doesn't have money. Either he has, he doesn't have. His life is going to go equally, whether he has money, doesn't have money. Just gonna read straight. Because the world tricks us totally. The world makes it look like when a person makes money, he's making something. He's being marviach. He's what's the word in English? He's expanding himself. He's increased. But the emes is the end. Nothing really happened. Berov b'nei adam she'oskim v'ovdim yomim v'shanim b'schoros v'masamatin. Look, you have many people, they're working all their lives, right? Many, many years, as merchants, masamatin business. When they come to a cheshbon, they don't have anything left. And even if a person is masig mos, even if a person does make some money, they take him away from his money. Eventually, he's taken away from his money. Vaklali says the rule is, it can't be both of these things are lasting together. The man and his money. Can't be. Rak o shalokhan hamos min ha'adam. Either they take the money from the man, or shalokhan ha'adam min hamos, they take the man from the money. Right? Either man loses his money in this world, or they take him out, he dies without his money. Rather, a person never, forever, he doesn't leave with anything. Yeah, okay, two more lines. He says, this world's been around for a long time. There's been a lot of money printed. There's been gold everywhere. Where's all that stuff? Where is it all? The world has been producing money for a long time. Where's all this money? Where are all the coins from ancient Rome? The billions of coins. Greece, Egypt. Where's their money? Where'd it go? It says, you see that be'emes, it's not anything. Be'emes. It's not really be'emes anything. Rabbi Nachman says to open up the Sicha. So what does a person take from this? What does he mean by this? How do you get through life? A person needs money. I'm saying you gotta buy food, you gotta have a house or some kind of lodging. What does he mean? He means like the Mishnah in Perkei Avos that says, a man doesn't leave this world. All he loses is Torah mitzvahs ma'asim tovim. Is that what he means? He's just giving like a chizuk shmuz. I'm leaving it to. What does he want? Does there have to be such
gold coins? Right, that's all I'm wondering.
I know,
Where is it now?
They're all like gold coins. Now a lot of them at the bottom of the ocean. I was by the. Ever go to the Living Torah Museum? So the Living Torah Museum. You've been there?
It's so cool.
You've been there?
It's so cool.
So there's this chassan in a bar park. He's a genius, Shabbat genius. Beyond, he knows a lot of things, a lot of language, like ridiculous stuff. And he has amazing Jewish artifacts. I could show you a picture on my phone of, I wore a helmet from Antiochus' army. How does he know? How does he know it's from Antiochus' army? So he has divers that go off the coast, just around all the places, and they find shipwrecks. And they find with all the stuff coins. He has a coin. Here's a picture of.
Is that the helmet?
Yeah, it's right helmet, probably. Yeah.
Huh? Helmet and the sword.
Yeah. So they have coins of Antiochus. He can read ancient Greek.
Oh yeah.
I'll show you after. I look much better than
Yeah, because it's probably fit.
it. A little bit. Yeah. So they find coins of it. Ancient coins, and he showed it. He could read ancient Greek, whatever. And at Antiochus, he had a picture of Antiochus, and so they found the helmet with it, so he knows. So they found a lot of things. So a lot of coins are at probably the bottom of the ocean. I think part of this is, and I see simplicity here. I see this whole. You'll see a lot of the Torahs here. Simplicity. It's just. It's the constant thinking in b'shas ma'is when we're living. Like we know this already. What are we thinking about? What's motivating our lives? If it's coins, that doesn't end up anyway. That doesn't last. It can't be that coins is what's motivating a person. It does motivate people, but it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be what motivates a person, because at the end of the day, it doesn't last anyway. Of course you need it. You have to use it. Of course you need to go. And he's not saying don't go to get parnasa. That's not what he's saying. But that can't be what everything's about.
It's like eat food, but don't talk about the food.
Eat food and don't dress it up.
Just eat it.
So you'll see there's a lot of parts of this, and he's discussing this. Like, live, but make sure your head is not in places that are pointless. Let's go to base. Again, simple. It seems like he was giving like a shmuz to the chaverim one night of Shavuos. He was just like giving an inspirational shmuz. Of course, there's amkus to everything he says, especially in the tumis and the pshitas. Right? Of course. Meaning, if we would just follow what he actually says to do, we would live better lives. If we would take to heart, if we would actually do this, that the world is nothing, and rather the ikr is the tachas hanitzchi. Meaning, I have to live. Meaning, he's not saying kill yourself. When he says ha'olam doesn't mean die. It means live life, but for the tachlis of nitzchis. Do things that will have an everlasting impression. If we would do that, we would live happily. We learn it, we don't always do it. That's like one of my pet peeves. Yeah. Is that when we're constantly learning so many svarim, in Chashav and Chassidus and Musar and all these amazing things we talk about, it's fancy, it's kaval, and then we just don't do it. This isn't an intellectual exercise. It's supposed to be about actually doing it. Mm. Okay, base. And then he says, in comparison, Hashem to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu, any udeya mihu zeh. I don't know who's the person, sheyuchal loma, that could say, sheyavod as Hashem lefi gedulas habayis baruch. Who could say honestly that they're serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu appropriately according to God's greatness? Can someone really say that they're like really good over the Hashem? Could a person say that? Anybody who knows a little bit of God, of the godless of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the greatness, he doesn't understand how a person could possibly say that he knows how to serve a God. If you actually know, if you have a little bit of das, and you know, or you understand to some degree how great the Borei Olam is and how small and how nothing we are, then you'd understand that you wouldn't even be able to say, my Avodah Hashem is good. This is supposed to humble you, right? There's two ways to humble a person. One way to humble a person is by seeing the greatness of the Kadosh Baruch Hu, which takes emunah, takes bitachon, takes lofty types thinking, right? Which is, as we keep saying in all the chaburas, it's very rare nowadays for any thinking. Right? Outside any work or just basic errands, thinking is obsolete. Kimat. Unless you're like, I'm not saying that you're a smart guy and you're like computer programming. Again, that's for work. Thinking deeply about the world, about the Borei Olam, about your own personal midos, how to grow, very, very rare. There are people, of course there are people, but it's quite rare, no? It's quite rare. When was the last time a person learned the Sefer? Okay, he's learning, good for him. And he stopped after a few minutes, right, a Sefer of Avodas Hashem, and he closed it and he said, am I doing this? Am I not doing this? How can I get there? What's the tachlis? What's the purpose? Or do we just keep learning page after page after page after page? Oh, that's a great idea. Oh, it's a nice idea. Oh, that's a good idea. Good. Right? Even when learning and we're being told what to do, we have this ability in our mind to say, yeah, that's really cool. I'm gonna do that in the head. Like as you're learning, I'm gonna do that, but then you're on to the next page. It's never gonna happen unless you're actually thinking about it. Right? Mm-hmm. And part of the problem is we learn so much. Even Moshe Rabbeinu, I always like to bring out this Rashi, first Rashi in Vayikra, or whatever, third Rashi, fill in the first pasuk. Rashi asks, what are the spaces in the Torah for? Right, the Torah was Hashem speaking to Moshe, right? Right, and Marum. So what are the spaces? What is that? That's when Moshe stopped to think. Oh. That's what Rashi says in Vayikra. That's when Moshe stopped to think, to download, and to review, and to allow it to settle down. What the Kodesh Baruch was saying. At the end of the day, Moshe Rabbeinu is human. He was the greatest, almost non-human, but he was human. You have to think about it. So we learn a page, you learn two. Stop for a minute. Think about what you just learned. First of all, think about what you just learned. Very often, you ever read a book You start a book. This happens all the time, especially if you're a little bit tired. You're reading. You get down to the page or 2 pages, and you're just, what did I just read? 3 pages. Somehow you read every word. You scanned it with your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
You did. You read every word, but you got nothing. 3 pages, 4 pages, 5 pages later, you're like, what did I just read? How did I do that? It's an amazing thing. We could read every word scanning with our eyes and our brain, yet our brain is totally spaced out. Fascinating. What? Shemona Esrei. Right, Taka, right. A lot of dogs that way. What is that?
Only.
Only. He's being nice. We've lost focus. We've lost thinking in this world. It's very important. Simple, simple, simple. You don't need complexities. For a person to change himself, to grow, to be a better person, a happy person, is the simplest things. Actually wake up. Davening so hard. I don't know what to do with myself. I'm losing focus. So I say to the guy, do you know what the words mean? No. What are we talking about over here? How could you possibly daven if you don't know what the words mean? We could go 100 years, daven every day, 3 times a day, say every single word, yet never know what one of the words mean. And even if you do know what the word means, you know what Hashem is, you know what Baruch is, you never were conscious of it when you're davening. Literally go your entire life. Many of us have already gone 20, 30, 40 years. Is that fascinating? Why would one think that davening is boring? You don't even know what the words mean. You're not. How could you even focus? It's like, imagine if I gave you a paper that, let's say it was Yiddish, because Chinese you can't even read. Let's say it was Yiddish, because so it's written in Hebrew letters. So you could read it. How long could you read that for and not space out? How long? 10 seconds?
Yeah.
So then you have a sit in front of you. You don't really know what the words mean. How long are you going to be able to space in? Focus. Nothing. Come on, nothing. 10 seconds. Davening is very geschmack. You know what the words mean.
Yeah.
You know there's a Borei Olam, the creator, who's in the room with you. Put that together. It's good. What is that? So a person who has a little bit of an inkling of the godless of the Kadosh Baruch Hu, the greatness, how could he say that he serves the Kadosh Baruch Hu properly? V'shum malach v'sorof en yachol l'spar al zos. Not even a malach can be so prideful to say sheyuchol lavad osayis baruch, that he's able to serve a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Even a malach. Raka eker hu aratzon, but says Rabbi Nachman, meaning you could say like, okay, so then what's the point over here? If I can't even serve a Kadosh Baruch Hu, what's the point? Everything is very subtle. He's saying that a person can't say that what he does, his actual doing, his davening, his learning, the actual tzedakah he gives, you can't say that's even touched being an Eved Hashem. That which you've done. Because God is just so much greater than any action, right? Think about it for a second. We've had how many Jews since the creation of the world? A lot of Jews. And how many acts of mitzvahs of things have there been in this world? More than thousands. Billions. So my barely having kavanah by tefillah, where does that hold? It's like 0.00000. All the mitzvahs that I'm going to do over 120 years, they're a drop in the drop in the drop in the drop of a bucket of a bucket, compared to Kadosh Baruch Hu, and he lives in all times. Was, is, and will be. So just imagine our mitzvahs. It's garnished. Well, that can be very depressing. So Rabbi Nachman, so what should I do? Should I just stop doing it? No. He says the ikr, you should know what the ikr is. What is a person's greatness? It's his ratzon. Raka ikr ha ratzon. Not what you've done. What you've done is nothing. It's garnished. But what your ratzon is. See, ratzon, we discuss ratzon in many different contexts. Ratzon, it transcends action. Ratzon transcends feeling. Ratzon transcends even thinking. Ratzon's in a place l'mayla sheb'l'mayla min hateva. So when a person has a ratzon to do, right? So he's davening. Let's say the guy doesn't even know what the words mean. Let's say. right? And he knows he doesn't know. But he sits down to daven. He says, you know, Kadosh Baruch Hu, I know I don't know what I'm going to say. I know. He's honest. But I want to be here, and I want to daven. I really want. You just turned a .00001, the drop in the bucket, to an amazing act that transcends all time, place, space, everything. Because you have a ratzon to do it. That's it, simple as that. Because the ikr in this world is to do the ratzon Hashem, to do His will. I want to do Your will. You got it. You mamish nailed it. That's the ikr. Now, generally, if you truly have a ratzon, serve a Kadosh Baruch Hu, eventually you will learn what the words mean. Because how long can you have a ratzon to daven? Because when I truly want to daven, I want to do your ratzon. How long could you really have a real ratzon without knowing what the words mean? It won't last very long. Because ratzon, real ratzon, Chazal don't say this, but it's a very, very famous statement. Ein dover ha'omi b'fnei ratzon. Nothing can stand in the way of a strong will. Will, ratzon, which is above machshav even. Ratzon is here. What I would like to do. Like, this is what I'm thinking about. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm doing. But this is what I want. Very, very deep. Not I want ice cream. I want ice cream down here by the belly. Right? I want to serve a Kadosh Baruch Hu. I want my whole essence to be an Eved Hashem. When you really have true ratzon, this is what we're talking about a little bit of the manifesting, it spreads down. Everything slowly starts to change. From a true ratzon. Again and again and again and again. That's what Rabbi Nachman speaks about all the time. Because ratzon creates. Hashem had a ratzon to create the world, and then He said, Baruch Shamar v'haya ha'olam. Before He said Baruch Shamar, before He said, and there was a world, He had a ratzon to create the world. Ratzon is the motivating factor of creating anything. You can't create anything without a ratzon, and anything you have a true ratzon for becomes created. Right? There's a line that Rav Volbe says in Ali Shor. I've probably said it before. It's such a powerful line. It's Kedar Chazer over. He quotes this line. He says, Ein davar om b'fnei ratzon. Ein davar, there's nothing that stands in the way of a will, ratzon. And he says it's not from Chazal. There's no Chazal that says that. It's really from Pnimius HaTorah, I think. Because ratzon is keser. Ratzon is up here. So, if you have a true ratzon, it has to happen. If you have a true ratzon, it has to happen. So he says, anything that you have a true ratzon for in your life, you will get, you will attain. Anything you have a true ratzon for. Now, ratzon is something that doesn't stop. You keep going and you go and you go. You will attain that. And he says, and anything at the end of your life that you've attained, or anything that you've attained, that was your ratzon. Whatever you've attained in this world, whatever you've become, in all areas of life, just know that's a manifestation of your ratzon. And if you didn't get something that you wanted, guess what? He says, you didn't really want it. Because if you want, if you really had a ratzon, you would become creative. Ratzon takes from ayin to yesh. This we discussed in the manifesting shir. So rak ikru ratzon.
Same with b'tachon. Same idea. If you have b'tachon, it will happen. If it didn't happen, it's because you didn't have enough b'tachon.
So that's not the Chovos HaLevavos is b'tachon, but that's the b'tachon according to the Al Shech HaKadosh, and it could be even according to the Baal Shem Tov and Nachum Ish Gamzu. Could be that in that world. Yeah, could be potentially. That's why when we were learning Rabbi Nachman, he was talking about in the manifesting, I didn't even want to say the word b'tachon. I mentioned it a little bit, but I didn't want to because we hold by the Chovos HaLevavos. Not against anybody, it's just that's the mahalach that works. And so manifesting and b'tachon are two different things. I wanted to keep it at that. So Rabbi Nachman says, "Lios ritzon chazak v'takiv tamid l'skar v'lovis baruch." That what's the ratzon? The ratzon is strong always to get closer to Kadosh Baruch Hu. That everything I'm doing, my ikr point, my motivating factor, my kavana is I truly want to return to. I want to get close to Kadosh Baruch Hu. Most people don't do this. Most people just do. They know that it's a mitzvah to daven. They know it's a mitzvah to learn, to get tzedakah, to go to shul, Shabbos, all that stuff. They know. So they just do, but it's shtick robotic. They're not actively thinking this is Hashem's ratzon, or even somewhat close to that. They just do what they've always done, and they will do what they always do. Right? We want to create a little bit more of a consciousness, a little mindfulness. It will change you, right? People people who don't have this consciousness, they're sometimes droopy Jews. This is the droopy Jew syndrome. When you don't have that kavanah, something that you want to be an Eved Hashem. Right? You become a droopy Jew. You're a Jew. You're going to go to shul, but you'll be droopy. You're going to drag yourself there because you're not motivated. And even though everybody wants to serve a Kodesh Baruch Hu, see, at the end of the day, anybody who's in shul, they do want to be there, but it's so low level, it's so unconscious that it's not the same as the guy who says, I want to come today. You could have a guy who knows all the words of davening, but he's at a lower level than the guy who doesn't know what the words are, but he says, I want to be here today. I want to be here today. I want to connect. There's many different levels, different parts of ratzon, of desire. I feel about them even in one person. Right? We're always changing in our ritzonos. It's up and down. For Torah is more than tefillah. For tefillah is more than Torah. And Tuesdays is better than Wednesdays. Shabbos, of course, is the ikr. We have different ritzonos. The ikr is to have the ratzon, to have the yearning, the desire. Sheyikosef tamid elav yisbarach, to always be yearning at whatever madrega you are towards the Kodesh Baruch. Even if it's low level, today is going to be a droopy davening. You're tired, you're out of it. You spilled your coffee on your new shoes, whatever it may be. But if a person could have this, it's a big fight. But if a person can walk into shul and say, Kodesh Baruch, I'm totally beaten. I'm mamish beaten today, but I want to be here. I don't want to let that get me down. Even though you really know you're probably going to have a bad davening, but you say, no, I'm going to say, I want to be here. Like we very often, this happens a lot in our daily life. Something happens that put us down, and then we just stay in that. We don't want to break out of it. It's so much easier to just become droopy and be, down, and because it takes a lot of chizik to get out. And we have a certain taiva. It's a little bit of a sick taiva to, things went wrong this morning. All right, I guess I'm not going to daven today. I go to shul, I'm not going to daven. It's like a taiva. You almost want to have an excuse, right? Because the daven with chizik is it takes energy. I just don't have the energy. And I don't have the energy because the kid spilled the coffee on my shoe, whatever it is. So today I'm potter from davening. Where's we gotta fire it up a little bit. We have to start jumping around a little bit. That's why Rabbi Nachman is very into clapping and dancing, even though there's a lot of secrets behind all the clapping and the dancing. But in a very pashut way, Rabbi Nachman was very practical. He was very, very simple and practical. He understood human psychology more than all of us. And what do sports teams do? What do people do when they want to you have a guy motivating the workers. It's like 3:00 in the afternoon, like a Thursday afternoon. The week work is almost over, and guys are just drooping around. What does the manager do? I mean, I'm making it up. I don't know if anyone does it, but you can imagine. They walk around, clap, get up. Rabbi Nachman says before you start davening, you start clapping. Motivate yourself. He talks about the arms and the lungs and the ches and the gevura. There's a lot of stuff that he talks about on the inside. But without knowing all that, just start get into it. Rabbi Nachman talks about very important. Rav Weinberger spoke about it a few. I think it was 2 Simchas Torahs ago, maybe 3. He was quoted from Rabbi Nachman about basically if there's a circle of people and then you have the guys on the outside of the circle. Who are the guys on the outside of the circle? Either they're old, or they're just sad. Kind of feel like dancing. You're 27 years old. Get in the circle. What is wrong with you? Like the shoulder. I don't feel like it. What happened? Whatever. Parnas's not going his way. Davening's not going his way. Things aren't going his way. His wife makes him take out the garbage. He's not going his way. So he's like a weak puppy dog. Rabbi Nachman says, grab him and bring him into the circle. Because if he's in that circle and he starts to dance, it will make him happy, and he will start to really want to be there. So this was I think this is by the year after COVID. Rabbi said, you see anybody. Here's what he said. He said, you see anybody on the side, you pull them in. And it was one of the most labored years of Simchas Torah. Nobody's on the side except for some people who are a little bit older. They sit on the side. Otherwise, guys are grabbing people, and then you do get into it. You do. We gotta have some movement. If you droopy your way into everything in life, then you will remain droopy, right? And then droopy guys like to hang out together. The whole droopy club, right? The droopy club. We gotta be a nachizik club. We're not in his chazkas. We're doing simple things. Past few weeks, I've been keeping it as simple as possible because I feel like we need, all the intellectual things. It's very nice, but it doesn't really. It's fancy. I'm not sure how much it gets us to go. You gotta chazik yourself. Smile, be happy, be energetic, clap it up. There you go. See, even that's a big thing. It's like
We should have started that way. Next week.
Okay.
If I bet if before davening, mamish, right before brachos. Imagine this. I really truly imagine this. What do you think? Right before brachos, okay, 7 o'clock is brachos. For 1 minute, the place starts clapping. Like that slow clap and then the fast clap.
Never coming back to age.
What?
Never coming back.
But imagine, I think davening will be better. There's no question.
Of course.
You're motivated.
Yeah.
And you didn't do anything. You just clapped your hands.
Oh my gosh. Not much energy.
Slow and then.
Start it tomorrow. It's like the wave at the games,
Why do they do that?
That's all too much.
If you get energized.
Now he says, but it's very important. Look at this. He says, of course, you have to try to put in the ikr. There's the rots and the kisuf and Talmud. Really, have it in our minds. That should become, for the next 6 months, we should be walking around all day. I want to serve Hashem. I really want. Just walk around with that in your head. It's very simple. I want to serve. And he says, ubesolkach. And from that yearning, within the yearning, right? The yearning has to be the makifin, it's called. It's called the outer ring. I don't care if you know what you're davening. I don't care if you know what you're learning. I don't care if you really understand the mitzvah at all. But if you have that outer structure called Ratzon, I want to serve a Kodesh Baruch Hu. So I'm going to learn, because that's serving Kodesh Baruch Hu. And I'm going to daven, because that's wanting to serve a Kodesh Baruch Hu. You're good. You're good. And if you truly want, you'll get better at it, and you'll get better at it, because that's what a Kodesh Baruch Hu wants. He wants you to be a good davener. He wants you to connect him on a real level. He wants you to learn Torah Hashem, the wisdom of the Ribono Shel Olam. Right? He wants you to do mitzvahs. So I also want to do mitzvahs. If you really want to serve a Kodesh Baruch Hu, then you have to get better at mitzvahs. Because that's a Kodesh Baruch Hu's Ratzon. Right? He wants you to do well. He wants you to enjoy the mitzvahs. So then I want to do what he wants, so then I have to do something to get better at these mitzvahs. Learning about them more, becoming conscious of them more, become motivated, clapping. It says, if you could do also Yisbarach, the emes is, according to the greatness of Kodesh Baruch Hu, called Elo Avodas Einam Klum. Actual avoda is really nothing. Because in the world of Asiya, action, compared to a Ribono Shel Olam who's well beyond, transcends any type of action, it's like a nothing. It's Einam Klum, right? The billions of mitzvahs over time. Rak hakol hu b'derech ki'ilu. It's all ki'ilu. Ki hakol hu k'mo schok ba'alma. Keneged Gilus Yisbarach. It's all like a joke. That's why I went to Kodesh Baruch Hu. B'lashon Ashkenaz, I can't even pronounce this. Klamirtish? Klamersht. I saw it, I looked up a translation. Performance. It's like a performance. It's like a play in front of a Kodesh Baruch Hu.
Oh, wow.
The actual acting is like a play.
It's also because it's whether it's going to happen as an Kodesh Baruch Hu's hands. So it's really, you don't even have it.
All these things. What do we have? The Ratzon. My Bechira is not to do or not to do. My Bechira is I want or I don't want. That's my choice. I want to serve or I don't want to serve. What you do, how you do it, that's all after the fact. The Ikr Bechira is I want to or I don't want to. And Stam is I don't want to. Stam is an actualized I don't want to. And the Pnimius, we're Jews. We're Maiminim B'nei Maiminim. So the Pnimius, we all want to. That's not going to help you in life so much. You get schar for Olam Haba, but it's not going to help you in life so much. Right? It's not going to change you. So so Stam is really down. You have to actually put energy in. This whole world, I was talking at the 6 o'clock Chabura, is we have a brain doctor. You know Dr. Levine? Whatever. So we go back and forth. We talk science. And he tells us about the synapses and the firings and the webs and all this stuff. And I was talking one time about entropy. You know entropy?
No.
When you have a certain system of energy that's tight, over time, just the way it goes, that's how Kodesh Baruch Hu, it dissipates. The energy starts to spread out and it starts to get weak. And then you need to put energy back in to the system to bring it back together. This is the reality of life. This is in Ruchnis and it's in Gashmas. Over time, things spread out. You have to be energetic because stam in this world is entropy. So stam is, I don't care, there's no energy. Davening just becomes droopy, like floating out into outer space.
Until no davening.
Without any connection to a space shuttle. You're just like floating out. Going so slow. You know, you can imagine like waving. You have to put energy to be able to get it to go. Now, it could be thinking energy, it could be emotional energy, or it could be action, clapping and things. We need to start putting energy into our Avodas Hashem. Pick one thing, whatever it is. Very, very, very important. He says, Gam chochmas einam klum. Sophistication, complexities, that's nothing. Rak tmimus and pshitas. Tmimus and pshitas, a pashat rotzen. A pashat rotzen, simple rotzen. The eye, what do they say in Yiddish? Vizvil? What do they say? You know Yiddish at all? Like Vizvil, I want to do that. I don't know how to speak Yiddish at all. I want to do the rotzen of the Borei. But you have to mean it. Gam b'tmimus also lios shoyte. But b'tmimus, being simple, it's also to be a shoyte. You can't be an imbecile. Right? I mean, a tamim doesn't mean he's opposite a smart person. A tamim means he's not caught up in sophistications.
Best sheer set.
Best what?
Sheer set.
Sheer set.
The Tom.
Chacham and the Tam. The story. You were there then?
Yeah.
We should do that again. We should do that again.
What?
Chacham and the Tam is like all of life.
Yeah.
It's a simple life. It's the key. To me, right? Can't be a shait. The Tamim is actually the smartest person, but he's not sophisticated smart. He's simply smart. It's a longer sugya. Afal pikein, chachmas ein tzrichen klal. Chachmas you do not need. U'kamavur b'makam acher, like we explained in another place. All right, we'll do one last os over here. Gam ein tov li'azakin. It's also not good to be a zakin to get old. It's not good to get old. Hein chassid zaken, ve'hin tzadik zaken. If a chassid becomes a zaken, or a tzadik becomes a zaken, it's not good. Zaken ain't tov. To become old and crusty, it's no good. Kitzor brachlis chadish b'chol yom lahaschid b'chol eis mechadash, like we learned last week. Every day, every hour, you have to become fresh, new. Zrizis, energy, right? That's what zrizis means. Zrizis means to be a zaris is to put energy into what you're doing. Godly energy. Doesn't mean running as fast as you can to do a mitzvah. It also means that. But it means to be connected to Elokus, to godliness, and to be putting energy into what you're doing. There's only one thing that Chazal say is better when it gets older. A pig. Davar acher, there was a pig. A pig gets stronger. A pig gets stronger as it gets older. So good. So if you want to be a zaken, you're just a pig. Don't be a zaken. Be young. Be young. Be fresh. Always changing. That doesn't mean you have to be physically young. You're getting older. But your mind, you could always start again, fresh again. Right? If you have a nefila and you don't get back up, you're old. You could be 20 years old and you're old. You're an old man. Right? Old man, how do you define it? We're not talking about physicality. Old, you become old. We're talking about in the mind. If you fall down and you don't get back up, you're just an old, foolish man. All right, we'll continue next again soon.